President Biden, I want to give you an opportunity to respond to this question about the national debt.
He had the largest national debt of any president in a 4-year period, number one. Number two, he got $2 trillion tax cut, benefited the very wealthy. What I'm going to do is fix the tax system. For example, we have 1,000 trillionaires in America. Billionaires in America. And what's happening? They're in a situation where they, in fact, pay 8.2% in taxes. If they just paid 24% or 25%, either one of those numbers, they'd raise $500 billion, I should say, in a 10-year period. We'd be able to wipe out his debt. We'd be able to help make sure that all those things we need to do, child care, elder care, making sure that we continue to strengthen our health care system, making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the COVID, with dealing with everything we have to do with, look, if we finally beat Medicare.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump?
Over. We finally beat Medicare? What was that?
He had less of that type of moment than I worried he might, but the ones that happened were still devastating, and he didn't need to go all the way to falling apart and stopping talking. That it was through everything. It was weakness, and it was not being able to see opportunities, no political court vision. It was hard to watch. It was physically uncomfortable. And also, Trump wasn't nearly as vicious as he could have been in those moments. He occasionally made comments, and I tweeted, I think Donald Trump realized he didn't even need to be vicious. It was so obvious how bad Biden was.
Yeah, and remember, he blew it last time by being over the top. So they told him 2,000 times, don't go over the top. And actually that helped him because he said crazy things, but he looked rational enough to get the job done. If I was him, after the first answer, I would have thought, oh my God, I'm gonna be president again.
Yeah.
Okay, but at the second time he stumbled, I would have been like, damn it. Now this is gonna be really hard because they're gonna put somebody else in, right? But the first time that he stumbled, I would have thought, play it cool, don't overreact, because this thing's over.
Remember one thing that Trump said, and it seemed ridiculous at the time, but he said at a rally, should I be nice? Should I let him win because I'd rather run against him? Maybe there was an element of truth to that. Maybe he realized in that moment, if I crush him too much, they'll pull him and I might well lose to literally any other person.
I can't begin to tell you how excited I am. We could beat Trump now. And we're not stuck with some weirdo who's sending billions of dollars of our money to Israel to continue the slaughter. I'm not under any delusion that an establishment candidate would feel differently, but at least it's not the guy who already did it and who has no chance of winning Michigan and who might lose Minnesota, right? So
and this could end up helping us in the Senate. It could end up helping us in the House. It definitely will matter for SCOTUS.
Don't pick Gavin, don't pick Gavin, don't pick Gavin. Okay, because I don't want to go back to a disadvantage.
I don't want to cover those speeches.
Anyway, all right, so here we go. Let's go to clip number 4. If you were not sold yet on how bad Biden looked, we're gonna show you a little bit of compilation of literally the looks. And unfortunately, a picture tells 1,000 words here. So video 4.
It was a little bit more liberal than you would have thought. Kansas, I would say the same thing. Texas is different, Florida is different, but they're all making their own decisions right now. And right now, the states control it. That's the vote of the people. And he opened it up, and these killers are coming into our country, and they are raping and killing women. And by the way, who endorsed me for president, but I won't say that, but they endorsed me for president. Brandon, just speak to him. But look, we had the safest border in history. Now we have the worst border in history.
Bye-bye.
He called him Brandon.
Yeah, so, yeah, he did call him Brandon, but I mean, the Democrats aren't this stupid, right?
That was bad.
And guys, if you missed the debate, it was an hour and a half of that. It was an hour and a half.
He had maybe once or twice he smiled when Trump said something particularly demented. And other than that, it was.
Yeah, And now let me show you, look, Trump's a maniac. What do I mean by that? Let me just show you a funny one. And then Biden had no answer for this. This is the softball of softballs. I mean, just give this to any other candidate. Watch.
So I want absolutely immaculate clean water, and I want absolutely clean air, and we had it. We had H2O. We had the best numbers ever.
You just come back and go, oh, did you? You had H2O in your administration? Congrats. Do you even know what that means? I'm not sure Trump knows what H2O means. What does it mean we had H2O? You had water in your administration. You must be so proud. Like these, so easy. It's so, we had the best water ever. Did you? What does that mean? What is best water? Even if that's what you meant, right?
Yeah.
Here, let's show another one. So this is, here, number 9, cognitive tests.
What do you say to voters who have concerns about your capabilities to serve?
Well, I took 2 tests, cognitive tests. I aced them, both of them, as you know. We made it public. He took none. I'd like to see him take one, just one, a real easy one. Like go through the first 5 questions. He couldn't do it. But I took 2 cognitive tests. I took physical exams every year. And we knock on wood wherever we may have wood, that I'm in very good health. I just won 2 club championships, not even senior, 2 regular club championships. To do that, you have to be quite smart, and you have to be able to hit the ball a long way, and I do it. He doesn't do it. He can't hit a ball 50 yards. He challenged me to a golf match. He can't hit a ball 50 yards. I think I'm in very good shape.
In another part of that same diatribe, Trump said, I aced it. They told me no one's been able to do that. It's a dementia test. Literally everyone in the country that doesn't have dementia can ace that test. Like this, you would go 100 for 100. Every one of us who doesn't have dementia. And like, why don't you just say, hey, Donald, I hate to do this. I don't want to embarrass you, but you took a dementia test, brother.
Yeah.
It's not an IQ test. No. And the fact that you didn't know that is a little embarrassing, right? Yeah. Instead, Biden got into how his golf game was better than Trump's.
Which nobody cares about and probably isn't true.
And he's like, and look at Trump. He's like, and in order to be good at golf, you got to be smart, and I can hit the ball more than 50 yards. Do you? I mean, in athletics, sometimes you have to be smart to win, et cetera, especially if it's a team sport. Yeah. What's our strategy? How do we go? But your best case, because she asked about cognitive tests.
Plays golf.
I play golf at my castle.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm smart.
It's one of the few sports they let you drive around during it. Anyway, he said, I would like to see him take 1 cognitive test, an easy one, the first 5 questions. Question 3 on the Montreal Cognitive Assessment asks you to identify a picture of a lion. Question 4 is to identify a picture of a rhino. And question 5 is a tough one. It's to identify a picture of a camel.
No one's ever aced it before. No, what a comical liar.
But okay, if you are a reasonable person, and I think we're trying to be reasonable here, you watched that debate, you come out, they never corrected the record on the cognitive assessment. You come out thinking that Democrats kill babies after the birth. They never corrected the record on that. You come out thinking that January 6th, I guess, was Nancy Pelosi's fault. You come out thinking they barely talked about the criminal convictions. They never mentioned E. Jean Carroll. They never mentioned the fraud trial. They didn't mention the Fulton County. They didn't mention the classified documents. All of his massive weaknesses. You come out thinking that Joe Biden is the radical on abortion. Like you come out, I'm not saying if you're stupid, like literally just a reasonable person who watched that. Joe Biden didn't correct any of this. The moderators didn't correct any of this. Donald Trump won on so many of these issues that there was no way he could win except against Joe Biden.
Yeah, so he never mentioned his infrastructure bill, his semiconductor bill, the Inflation Reduction Act. So
I think he mentioned the semiconductors.
Oh, he did?
He talked about that a little bit.
Okay, so he did that a little bit, and he mentioned climate within the and that was in the Inflation Reduction Act, right? But overall, the case that the establishment kept making for Biden is, oh, you won't believe the number of bills he passed, and he was legendary. He was FDR 2.0. Then, okay, if that's your best case, why don't you brag about it? during the debate. Why don't you say I'm going to create millions of jobs with the infrastructure bill that I created? The entire country is going to have the internet now. And this guy used to discriminate against the rural parts, the farmers, et cetera, because they couldn't get internet. I made that possible. He didn't care about you. I did. Just do anything, anything. Instead of talking about how, hey, dumbass, you passed the dementia test. Here's the exchange they had. Let's go to graphic 10. Video 10.
Look, I'd be happy to have a driving contest with him. I got my handicap, which when I was vice president, down to a 6. But by the way, I told you before, I'm happy to play golf if you carry your own bag. Think you can do it?
That's the biggest lie, that he's a 6 handicap of all.
I was an 8 handicap.
Yeah.
8.
Never.
But I had, how many?
I've seen you swing. I know you swing.
Okay, let's
not act like children.
President Trump, we're going to
21
Let's not act like children.
By the way, he said my handicap was 6, and he said that's the biggest lie of all. And then Biden said my handicap is 8.
By the way, Trump seems crazy and slow and disconnected from reality there too. They both, like that back and forth, like we should hit reset on America because that was deeply embarrassing.
But that's my point, John. That's everybody's point, and your point throughout as well, which is that if we had just a standard Democratic candidate, we would all be talking about how nuts Trump is.
Yep.
But we're not talking about how nuts Trump is. We are, but I see none of the press talking about it because everybody's talking about what a disaster Joe Biden was.
Yeah.
So here, do you want to talk about nuts? Let's go to video 2 to just give you a small sample. Every one of these should be a walk-off home run for his opponent. Watch.
I think it's important to believe in the exceptions. Some people, you have to follow your heart. Some people don't believe in that. But I believe in the exceptions for rape, incest, and the life of the mother. I think it's very important. Some people don't. Follow your heart, but you have to get elected also, and because that has to do with other things. You got to get elected. The problem they have is they're radical because they will take the life of a child in the 8th month, the 9th month, and even after birth. After birth, if you look at the former governor of Virginia, he was willing to do this. He said, we'll put the baby aside and we'll determine what we do with the baby, meaning we'll kill the baby. What happened is we brought it back to the states, and the country is now coming together on this issue. It's been a great thing.
How's the country coming together? I mean, in a sense they are, because they're all voting against you. Like in Kentucky, Montana, and all the red states that have voted, Ohio, they're all like pro-choice, pro-choice, pro-choice. You've ironically brought the country together to be united in how much they loathe you for overturning Roe v. Wade. Okay, there's an answer. So you know what Joe Biden, right? So that was the answer in that case. He blows every opportunity. Besides which, that's not the main point. The main point is, hey, lunatic, what are you talking about? Killing babies after they're born. Well, how is that an abortion? That's just murder, and it doesn't happen. It's you're mentally deranged. I want a fact check. I want everybody and right-wing, and if anybody in right-wing media tells you, oh, Governor Northam, blah blah blah, they're lying to you. There is no such thing as a post-birth abortion. Please understand the English language, right?
Yeah.
So it's so easy to beat this guy. He just gives you softball after softball, but Biden can't. He can't hit it. It's over. It's over.
That was just maddening, and he says that line that he's said over and over again. Jake Tapper knows he's likely to say it. Dana Bash knows he's likely to say it. He says multiple times. He said they kill the baby after birth, which that doesn't happen. They don't correct it. Then Dana Bash just like, oh, thank you, Donald Trump, for telling that insane lie. Joe Biden, are there any limitations you would place on abortion? You radical, you who wanted to maintain the status quo of over a half century of people having control over what happens to their body. She asked him a question to make him look like he's an abortion radical after Trump just told one of the most deranged lies I've ever seen in a debate.
Yeah, and please be clear, you're supposed to come back from that and go, I'm for Roe v. Wade, which is how Biden started. Then you say, Roe v. Wade clearly said that you cannot get an abortion in the 3rd trimester. This whole nonsense about, oh, you can get it in the 9th month. That was never Roe v. Wade. Anyone who says that is definitively lying to you. So I'm for Roe v. Wade. We understand that. Of course, there has to be restrictions in the last trimester. The only way that you would lift those is if the life of the mother is in peril, right? So that is the standard of Roe. That is the standard the country agrees to. That's the standard I would do if you give me enough senators. I can make that happen for you. Whereas this guy took your rights away. And if you're a woman out there, he took your freedom away. He thinks your body should be the property of the government for 9 months. And now he says, oh yeah, after he got Roe v. Wade overturned, oh, I care about if it's an exception for rape or incest. Well, did you care when you nominated those three justices who ruled that it doesn't matter? Did you care then?
Well, and he also said in his answer, the rambling stuff about follow your heart. Yeah, if you live in one of the many states that's outlawed it, you follow your heart, you go to jail. And then he said, well, you got to get elected. So when he's asked about medication abortion, when he's asked about IVF, when he's asked eventually about no-fault divorce, yeah, you're gonna trust your freedoms to the guy who says you gotta get elected. Like, yeah, he'll say whatever he's going to say. Republicans in the Senate are already pushing for a federal ban on abortion. You think that Donald Trump is going to veto that bill? Who the hell is willing to roll the dice on their bodily autonomy that Donald Trump is going to tell his party no on that?
Yeah, the best line that Joe Biden had in the debate was, he said to Trump, you have the morals of an alley cat. And President Garfield was like, damn it, I should have used that line. What was that, from like 100 years ago? And that was his best singer.
He said, you're a whiner.
That's true.
One of his best lines, but yeah, they glossed over. Like he brought up the sleeping with Stormy Daniels, but he did it in like not even in a good way. Like some of these awkward moments in the right hands could have been okay. Like I feel like Obama could have made a joke about his golf game and it would have come off as charming or something. Instead, it was super awkward. And even when he's like, and this guy is a convicted felon. Come on, if you're gonna bring that up, if you're gonna broach that subject, you're getting nothing out of it the way you're talking about it. And again, coming out of that back and forth, Donald Trump just says he's committed a bunch of crimes and he's coming after me, he indicted me. Joe Biden didn't even rebut that, saying I have literally no control over these prosecutors. You come out of this debate thinking, yeah, I guess he was convicted, but it looks like Biden did stuff and he's going after his political opponent.
Here's an easy line Obama could have done, and he could have done it so well about the golf. Oh, you won a championship on your own course, did you? Okay, and you can see Obama delivering that line, and it's devastating. It's belittling. Everybody knows he's making it up, etc. So, lastly, here as we wrap up the night, should I get back in? I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
No, when you said, okay, now we're talking who we're gonna nominate. First nomination, I was like, he's gonna say himself. And then he said Bernie Sanders. But I thought you were gonna be like this guy.
No, by the way, guys, I ran because nobody else would.
Sure.
Mission accomplished. Now about 20 people are gonna run.
Yeah.
You're welcome. Thanks for watching the video, guys. We also love it if you hit the join button below because that makes you a member. And members allow us to be independent, honest. We can be as progressive as we want, no corporate media influence, and that's all because of you guys. We love doing the show with our members. Hit the join button, become one of the Young Turks.